It's a shame Joey's not on the call, because that's what Joey was most looking forward to. He got loads of Uber Eats and Deliveroo dinners. Like, he was looking forward to that more than recording the album.
Every morning he'd be like, what bougie meal am I getting today?
How are you all doing?
Good, thanks. Are you okay?
Yeah, all right. Cheers, mate.
Not too bad. How's the snow? I see it's been snowing over there. I mean, we're in Spain. That's why I'm saying it's pouring down here as well. But it's snowing over there, I believe. No.
Yeah. It's been hailing and snowing, and
it's bright sunshine now.
Yeah, it's like blue skies and then snow, so it's a bit confusing. But it's a bit different to the weather we had last weekend, which was like 18 degrees, which was obviously nice for the UK, wasn't it? But yeah, it's changed now.
Anyway, Tom, we're talking about blue skies. Congratulations on the Clue Records signing. That must be quite an opening in the clouds for you, no? I mean, because you were going to release that. I think you were going to release the debut album before that, no? And then this has kind of come along since then, no?
Yeah, it's been. It was really good to link up with Clue, because we were fans of them anyway. So I suppose we didn't know what we were going to do with it. We recorded it in lockdown, and then thankfully Clue liked it. So it's been a bit of a longer process to get it out, but it'll be worth it.
I mean, you said Clue. Was it based on the actual album itself, or did Clue kind of find out about you before the actual album? How did it come about?
Yeah, they knew about us,
right?
They do like a little. They have like a weekly. I think it might be weekly, like little radio segment on Amazing Radio over here, and we knew that they kind of played our previous singles on there, so we knew that kind of liked us because they were playing the tunes on there. But so then we reached out to them when we had the album recorded to basically say, we've done this. Do you like it? Would you be interested in doing anything with it? So
there's a phrase in Newcastle called "Shy Ben's getting out," and that means just try and see what happens. So we sent it, and it all worked out well.
Yep.
I mean, talking about things working out well, I mean, the fact that you got the album made was kind of worked out by chance as well, because I think you applied for a grant, I think, is it, that they can issue over there now. Can you tell me a little about how that came about as well, for other bands that might kind of be looking to do the same kind of thing?
It's the one we went for. So they're all, well, there's several that the PRS Foundation do, who are like the Performing Rights Society, and it's like the charity kind of arm of that. So obviously they like collect artist royalties and things like that, but then the foundation's like a big charitable branch, and there's like a number of different grants that you can apply for based on like what stage you're at in your career type thing. And the one that we went for was kind of this. It's kind of like the entry level one. It's just called the Open Fund, which is kind of anyone could apply for it, and you can put it towards, like, obviously it's quite a bit smaller than a lot more of the advanced ones and things, but like you can put it towards, you could put an application in and put it towards like a tour, or obviously like for us it was like recording, maybe it's to help with like promotional activities and things like that. So it's called the Open Fund because obviously it's open to a number of things, but we put an application in for to do the record, so basically to record it and then to help promote it. And we were really, really lucky. It was in like the first lockdown. I think like the application was before the summer, and then obviously it was just like nothing was happening anyway. And then we found out we got it, and so then we had, because nothing was still open at the time, we obviously then had some time at least to kind of like plan when we would do it and write the record and stuff. So it worked out well. But I think there's a kind of like quite a bit of competition, I think, for those grants, obviously, and especially probably in the past couple of years with everything going on, because people can't generate the money other ways. But at the same time, if you were, for other bands and stuff, definitely, obviously, well worth trying. And I think a lot of people possibly fail the first time to do it, but then they encourage people to apply multiple times. So like, don't ever be kind of disheartened by it.
Brilliant. I mean, it must be. I mean,
probably
like
I've worked for them actually.
Yeah. Well, I think it's another example of shy bands getting out, isn't it? That because like Garth was saying, we're applied for a few of them. So I think one of the biggest barriers for any performing band is finance. So it was good to get that opportunity that we could, be a bit more ambitious than we usually had been.
And I get the feeling, I mean, I could be wrong, but I get the feeling that kind of drove you towards kind of creating the album, because before that, I don't think you'd really made plans that far ahead. No, I think you recorded 3 or 4 songs before lockdown, and then kind of you had a kind of like a stopgap, no? And then once the grant kind of came into motion, was that when you started to kind of write? And would you say that lockdown played into the way that you were writing, especially kind of vocal the lyrics?
Yeah, definitely. I think we'd always done singles, because when you're starting out, it is just like, what can we do next? What can we afford to do next? So that was why we always just kind of look to the next song or the next couple of songs. But with the grant, it meant that we could actually like plan further, and it was really different writing an album. It was a totally different process, and it was really nice. But it was also good in lockdown, because it gave us a focus, and it was something that, because we had the grant, we could actually go in and record. But I think it definitely, you try and avoid letting it influence things, but it went on for so long. We had like 2 years of it, didn't we? So it went on for so long, it was kind of unavoidable. So I think it definitely did seep in there. More lyrically, I mean, Black Tar that's just come out is very much about the way that I think the world felt at the time. Like, it was just like constant bad news, and nobody really knew what to make of COVID, and it was just like a heightened state of anxiety for lots of people. And so it definitely influenced Black Tar and some of the songs on the album as well. So everybody was trying not to write a lockdown album, but then I think we couldn't really stop ourselves.
Couldn't help it, yeah.
It's like black tar that keeps me down, and in the heat of the sun it burns when you try to pull me out. It's like tight ropes to fall from one to the next, from the Empire State right down to the Hudson Bay.
What about the actual writing process itself, especially during lockdown? Because I was reading that usually when you kind of get into a room and you've all been doing your homework and kind of coming up with melodies and riffs and stuff, then usually, is it Jackie, is it you that kind of usually then kind of sews it all together and comes up very, very quickly I was reading that kind of on the day, you're the one that kind of sews everything together and comes up with the lyrics and the main melodies pretty quickly?
Well, kind of, we all just write our own parts, to be honest. It's usually these 3 that come up with an idea, and then everybody puts their own part with it. So in lockdown, obviously we couldn't practice as much because of the restrictions and things. So we did a lot of it digitally and sent each other things. Other times we would be in the room and just write the song together. But I think the lyrics and the melody are definitely the last thing to go on it. So in terms of sewing it all together, yeah, it probably does, because it helps with the structure of how it is overall. But it's certainly not me who starts the songs, because I can't play any instruments. So yeah.
I think with lockdown as well, because we had a slightly different approach. Usually when we would come up with an idea, me, Garth or Potter would probably just get a phone recording of something we'd jammed on a guitar, and if people liked it, we'd get together, but you obviously couldn't do that. So it gave us an opportunity to be a bit more, when we'd write parts, we'd maybe use a drum machine and like add additional layers. So I think some of the song ideas we had were a bit more formed out. And some of them on the album were pretty much kind of done and dusted songs. But then when we got together and started playing with each other, they kind of naturally changed and sounded more like us than someone's individual kind of piece of work. So it was a different process, but it was really exciting, very fulfilling.
I think somewhat easier than others, though. Like some I would get sent and think, oh, I don't know what to do. But one pops in mind, there's a song on the album called Just That. And the first thing I played, along with Jackie and Garth's like demo, was like exactly what I played on the album. Do you know what I mean? So some goes quicker than others. Do you know what I mean?
And then in terms of, I mean, Jackie and Gath, I think you're married now. You're a married couple, and I imagine you lived together all the way through the lockdown. So what is it like for you, kind of being in a group as a married couple? Does that make things easier because you kind of got this project that you're sharing together? And what about the other two? Is it kind of easier for you to bring your ideas when it's 2 against 2 in the group?
If anything, Jackie and Garth disagree the most.
Yeah, if anything.
We're less polite to each other. No, it's actually 3 against 2 because we've got Joey the drummer as well.
Right, there's 5 of you. Sorry, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah. So, but to be honest, it is more like probably me have a go at Garth, just because we're not polite with each other. Whereas like we would probably be more polite if we weren't married. But it isn't like massive. I don't think we're like, there is things we fall out over, but not hugely. And I think do you know, me and Garth have brought the main issue with the band because we've got a little girl who's 2. So it's childcare because we're both in the band. There's only certain times we get
childcare. You can be there or the other one,
yeah. So it's like, that's the problem. So in lockdown especially, obviously we all have day jobs, but you could only have one childcare bubble, so it just made things really difficult. But we do, you know, we manage, don't we? We're lucky, we've got a family who help, so I think it balances out. But to be honest, we're okay usually because we all do our own parts, and one person isn't coming in with a song and saying you do this, you do that. Everyone gets their own say, so most of the time there's not arguments, is there?
Yeah, no, not really. It might be more that I might do something at home, play it to Jackie, and then she'll just like, before we even take it to the rest of the band, will say like, no, I don't like that, or that's not a verse, that's not a verse, that's not a chorus.
So the song that Potter's talking about, Just That, is called Just That because in the recording, Garth like wrote the song and I put a thing over the top, and then when I played it back, he went, just that. And I was like, what do you mean, just that? And that's why it's called.
Because in my head it was going to be twice as long.
Short, but actually it's really, it fits just nicely. But so yeah, maybe it plays into it more than we actually think.
But and then when you actually write the lyrics, did you write the lyrics on your own, or Garth, did you kind of give a helping hand, or does she come to you?
Nah, it's all Jack with the lyrics.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And have you never offered Garth the chance to help you with the lyrics? Has it always been you?
I mean,
just because you're the front woman, if you will.
Do you know what? No one's ever asked if they could write. No one's ever asked if they can write lyrics to a song. I think once Potter had an idea.
Must be a reason for that.
But no, yeah, I'm just really unapproachable, and it's like that's my territory. But no, if somebody else wanted to do one, that's fine. But I think it's just probably the way we're set up. We've never actually done it that way. But if someone had a song finished and wanted to do it, that's all right. It's just not happened so far.
No.
Brilliant. And what, I mean, obviously you've talked about the writing process, but what about the recording process? I mean, it's not only your debut album, but it's also you've recorded it under like COVID lockdown restrictions, and that's been quite a daunting challenge not to take on. How did you go about that?
We did it in a week.
Yeah, did it in a week. So it's pretty fast paced, but we kind of just mic'd up a room. So a lot of the tracks, we've had a lot of comments saying that we're quite a high energy live band. We wanted to capture that sound when we're in the studio. So most of it was just setting up the mics and playing through each song in a row. And because we'd practiced them loads beforehand, we'd worked on them and rehearsed them, and then the bulk of the recording process went fairly quickly. And then that just meant we had a lot of time to work on the arrangements, a lot of the overdubs. I love all that stuff. So it was great. I think there was one day we spent entirely doing guitar feedback, which was awesome. And that meant like we all kind of got a fair input on everything as well. And some of the tracks in particular, in my opinion anyway, kind of fully formed and came themselves. For example, title track World to Me was a lot more subdued when we're trying it, and I think that kind of came into its own in the studio. So having that extra time to kind of work on those details, I think really helped things.
But I mean, most of it was kind of organic. I mean, it also almost sounds a little bit like Let It Be documentary a little bit now, but instead of Let It Be, just that documentary, you know.
I think all bands have had the conversation of who's Paul, who's John, who's George. So, Potter, did you say you were Ringo?
Me and Joey are definitely Ringo. Me and Joey are like the little Ringos because we don't really care.
Garth Paul.
It's not
definitely Garth Paul.
Well, I don't know.
It wasn't. Yeah, but yeah, recording because you said about like COVID, like from a COVID perspective, it wasn't. I mean, we just basically did the whole thing masked up, and the rooms were big enough to like distance. But the recording studio was like obviously allowed to be open and had measures in place and that. Jackie spent a lot of it in her own, which she probably would have anyway, but just the vocal like booth was just like not just a booth, was kind of like obviously a separate room, wasn't it? So you were just kind of in there, often having to do obviously just like sing along guide. Well, actually the vocal was done live, wasn't it? The vocals were all recorded live along with us.
Live, all right.
And then it was only some of them that were redone over the top. I think you did keep the original.
No, I don't think there were. I did a guide.
Some of them I feel like some of them are live.
Yeah, I think.
Will to Me was, when you talk about us being married, Will to Me was recorded first with me and Garth, and it was like we just constantly kept making mistakes and had to do it over and over again.
Yeah,
I remember. But so that was just two of us in a room. But no, I think it was a mixture. I mean, to be honest, it's usually drums and bass first, isn't it? So you do the rhythm section and then we'll build up from that. So yeah, I can't remember the question, but yeah. COVID. Yeah, we'll have to wear masks. We did have to wear masks and obviously sanitize and try and stay 2 meters apart. Because like the studio obviously had rules in place as well, but thankfully we were lucky and nobody caught it, did this. So
and we all had great lunches.
We all had really good lunches. That's actually, it's a shame Joey's not on the call, because that's what Joey was most looking forward to. He got loads of Uber Eats and Deliveroo dinners. Like he was looking forward to that more than recording the album.
Every morning he'd be like, "What bougie meal am I getting today?"
The second album will be pretty imminent as well then, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have you got an official release date for the album? And because I know you've got a few live gigs coming up soon. Is that kind of to promote the album release?
Well, we haven't actually announced. We haven't officially announced the release of the album really yet.
Yeah.
Not that it matters. So there is a date.
So it's coming, but we can't tell you when.
Yeah.
Can't say when.
We probably shouldn't tell you it's coming, but it's coming. It's when, yeah.
Yeah, because I think you recorded it was it February last year or something like that?
Yeah.
It's been there a while now. Yeah. You must be kind of anxious to get it out there, no? Yeah.
I think that happens in a band though. Like you have the songs for so long before the finish, and everyone else just gets to hear them, and they want to hear them live. But by that point, you want to move on to something else. But
something new now, yeah.
It's just part of being in a band, isn't it?
I think it's almost a plus side though, because we're, some of us are kind of sick of some of the songs now. So we're already kind of looking at writing new material and kind of keep moving forward, which it's a good place to be in.
And what about live? Because I know you've got have you got a 6 or 7 day headline gig tour coming up now? Can you tell us a little bit about that and what they can expect? Is it all going to be the album, or have you actually kind of got some more tunes that you want to play live to surprise them as well?
Well, it'll mainly be it's the bulk of the set is the album, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then great hits in there.
With some releases, with some of the stuff, obviously, greatest hits, with some of the stuff that we've released already. But yeah, it's mainly that. But as I say, to be honest, because like you say, we recorded it last February. So since we started, when you were allowed to gig again from like June, it was here, when originally it was like a couple of months of seating only gigs. Yeah. And then it obviously opened up properly. But so the gigs we've kind of done since June last year have all been, we've kind of played a lot of album tracks kind of already anyway. So, but there's a few that we're doing on this tour that it's definitely the first time we've done them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, other than that, it's the first. We've done the odd gig in different cities and stuff, but we haven't done an actual tour before this one, so we're looking forward to just getting out for the first time, I think.
And I mean, you said that you kind of, because you've sat on these songs for quite a long time, you're eager to get more stuff recorded, but at the same time, because you've been sat on them for so long, have you found yourself kind of changing them a little bit when you've been playing them live, or wanting to, or changing things that you felt maybe you should have recorded back then that you didn't get to record then?
I think they naturally change when you play them live, because you kind of do it to keep yourself entertained. But I'll let Andrew speak, because I'm sure he's got things he wants to add about the sample part and things.
I'd say if anything, our older songs had probably changed somewhat in that, because in the studio we used a lot more kind of samples and kind of little details and effects to kind of embellish the songs. So we got a sample pad so we could do that live, and we've been using that for some of the older songs to kind of make them sound a bit better. And it's been a slow process to get to the point, but I feel like we're pretty confident now that. Yeah,
oh, brilliant. So I mean, just to finish off, then whenever I get anyone on here, I like to ask them about I think some of them. I was reading interviews. A couple of you're not really into listening to all new music all the time, trying to keep yourself up to date. But are there any kind of new up and coming bands that you'd recommend to anyone else apart from yourselves, that you've kind of discovered on the circuit or just on streaming services?
I've been listening. Well, I think everyone's been listening to Self-Esteem, but I've been listening to Self-Esteem, and English Teacher.
English Teacher.
Oh, English
really
Teacher, yeah.
Great, yeah. And I've also just found a female artist from Australia called Grace Cummings, whose album is amazing. I absolutely love that. I'm sure everybody else has got their own.
For me, we played with TV Priest in Newcastle not too long ago on their tour, and I really enjoyed their set and fully converted me to the music. But one of the other support bands for that was Gen, Gen. I don't know if I can pronounce it. But I thought they were amazing, so I've been heavily listening to their record. And then
they were also the nicest people we've ever met. Like, both bands were just so nice. I've never been to such
really, really refreshing to play a gig where everyone's so canny.
And you just play with them by chance? Were they just support groups that you ended up playing with by chance?
Yeah.
We just got to do the show, didn't we?
Yeah. And
then it was fortunate. They were so nice because that none of the monitors worked on stage that night, and the sound check ran mega late. Everyone was like stressed to hell, but then because they were so nice, it was just like it didn't really matter. Everyone was pretty just it's the best we can do, like get on with it type thing.
Brilliant. Well, listen, I won't keep you any longer. It's the weekend, so I'll let you go. Thanks very much for your time. I'll give you a shout when this goes live. It won't be this Monday because I've got another one on Monday, but it'll be the following Monday. And then please do let me know when the album's coming out so I can officially tell people when it's coming out. And hopefully I get to catch you at a gig sometime soon when I'm back over there.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Well, thank you guys as well. I appreciate your time. All right, have a good weekend. Take care then. Bye now.
Bye.